Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ed Talk, episode number 20. And this has been a big week for me so far, as far as numbers go. This is my 20th episode of Ed Talk. I've been doing contemporary now for almost 2 months, 9 weeks at this point. So that was pretty cool. I was pretty excited about that here. Over on YouTube, I hit 200 subscribers, which obviously I think that Freckles and Britt are going to go blowing by me at some point here, but it was a pretty big deal to me. I've been trying to grow my channel for a couple years now, and it's finally starting to move and take off. I think the 12-hour stream from the generational gap that I wound up taking over did a big part of that, and I'm very, very thankful for that. And I'm thankful for everybody who's coming by us, who gave me the support, the subscriptions, and got me watching here. I also hit 50 subs on DLive, which is another place where I'm trying to grow my platform here. Let's get rid of that so nobody can go out and dox me here. Well, I'm going to have to change bank accounts again because everyone just saw my bank account number. That's lame. Anyway, this is Ed Talk, episode number 20. If you are new to this program here, first off, I want to thank everybody for coming in and checking us out. If you're new to the program, I am going to be having an hour-long discussion of various things that we're going to be talking about here. I've got some topics on Joe Biden, and I've got some topics on the Michigan protest, and I might even talk about Tara Reade and everything else that's going on with that. So that'll be happening up in the near future. But for the most part, I'm going to spend the next hour answering questions. We are live right now on DLive, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, and Facebook. So go ahead and check us out on any one of those platforms. But if you are on Facebook, I'm going to actually need to have you go on over to YouTube, DLive, or Twitch, because otherwise I can't see your chat, and I really do want to answer your questions, so head on over to those places. And we did have some chat moving here right in the beginning, so let me get over there and address that right away before we get started. I've got Amanda Figs over in the live chat from the YouTube. Thanks for checking us out over there. It's a new name, but yeah, thanks for stopping by. That is one of my... that is one of Steven's beats. I asked him for that, and he said he would let me use it. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm very thankful for the fact that he would. So, as I wait for people to file in, of course, I've got questions I'm going to wait for. Let me get the live chat up over here so I don't have to keep looking over for it. But before we get started, of course, we've got a bunch of other stuff to talk about, and I really need to clean my desk because I just left a bunch of crucial stuff laying out all over it before we got started. So, I apologize for any of that, but I want to start with Biden. Because one of my Twitter followers, I forget who it was, let me get that pulled up here, actually had posed a question, and I wanted to make sure I got his question right. So let me get my Twitter up here so we can have a look at that. And I want to answer the question pretty much exactly how he asked it. So give me just a second here. It should be right up in the beginning. Where is it? Oh, that's the one I don't want. Did it get taken down? That would be fucking lame as shit if it did. Oh, I'm not on replies, that's why. Yeah, I know how to use technology. Alright, so here we go. Louie over on Twitter, Real Louie Huey, go and check him out over there. Joe Biden is a plagiarizing, perverted, child-sniffing scumbag. How is he even running for president again? And I had a bit of a description here to talk about with that, so let's get the live chat back up here. So Biden is running for a few reasons, and none of them are to actually be the president of the United States. And I determined that almost immediately as I started seeing all of this go down and everything go along with Joe Biden. One of the problems that I have with Joe Biden is the fact that he is a 77-year-old man with dementia and possibly Alzheimer's at this point. So that means that there's no reason at all that he needs to be sitting in that office. He can't make any decisions. He can't really decide what the direction of the country is going. He doesn't know where he is half the time. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't remember who Tara Reade is, not because he's trying to hide anything or not because he's innocent of anything, just because his brain has become Swiss cheese at this point. But I led with, he's the lead candidate right now for 3 reasons, and he's running for the same 3 reasons. So, first and foremost, Joe Biden is a sacrificial lamb. He's put up there because the left knows that Trump is pretty much guaranteed a second term at this point. He's got enough of a cult-like following over on Twitter and across the rest of the country as well. I mean, just take a stroll through Twitter at some point and see how many people in there. Go through my followers and see how many of them have MAGA right in the title of their name. Right in their handle even. The Twitter surge happened right after Trump became elected, and he has got a following like no other. He's got a bigger cult following than Obama did, and Obama was the cult leader in chief. And Donald Trump managed to break his record on there. And for the most part, he is doing an okay job. Given where he's at right now, first off, you have to consider the fact that Barack Obama did get reelected at 47% approval rating, and Barack Obama got to 47% approval rating with the mainstream media, kissing his ass for his entire term in office. The mainstream media just kneeled down and sucked him right off for the entire time that he was president. He could do no wrong. He was supposedly scandal-free, and the media ran cover for every single thing that he did. Now, compare that to Trump, who, of course, all of the MAGA fans out there are saying that Gallup has Trump at 49% approval and under 50% disapproval for the first time, which is not accurate because it's an outlier poll. And most people are out there, oh, that's the least accurate poll in the world. Well, no, it's not. Gallup is actually pretty spot on, and it is a bit right leaning, but once again, most of your polls are going to lean left anyway because that's who's going to be answering the phone. But it's accurate to a point, but of course, you're always going to want to take the aggregate because Gallup is a little bit right leaning, and Harris X is a little bit left leaning. And you've got all these polls, you got to take the combinations together. You've got to actually take a real big group of people, not just the little bit of thousands of people that everybody's polling as we go along. In the aggregate, Trump is at a good solid 44 or 45%, depending on which aggregate you use. With the media constantly up his ass about every single thing that he does and twisting every word that he says. Every word is a twist to try and make him look as bad as he possibly can look. And he's still at 45% approval rating. And the people are seeing, the Democrats are not stupid. They're seeing the rallies. Well, they're not seeing them anymore because the COVID has effectively ended the rallying cycle, but they're seeing the rallies. They are seeing the signs. They're seeing Twitter. They're seeing everything else out there. They're seeing the alternative media out there, and they're realizing the fact that this is going to be a Trump election and possibly a Trump landslide. Given the fact that if a president runs and fails, that is usually a death nail for his career entirely. If a candidate runs, drops out, and what does he do after that? I mean, look at Scott Walker, if you want to look at that. He ran as a presidential candidate. I mean, you look at some of the other senators. Ted Cruz got reelected, and many of the other senators and representatives that ran last time got reelected for their seats. But for the most part, especially if you're an executive, if you run for president and you fail, your career is over. Scott Walker is a great example of that because there's no reason that Tony Evers should be the governor of Wisconsin right now, except for the fact that Scott Walker tried to out-Trump Trump and tried to say he was going to build a wall with Canada, which was the end of his political career. Now, if you look at the field of people that ran, you've got Kamala Harris, rising star in the DNC, and the person who's ready to stick it to Brett Kavanaugh. You've got Pete Buttigieg, who nobody knew who he was a few months ago, and now he's one of the most popular people out there. For God's sakes, Andrew Yang is a CNN contributor at this point. These are all rising stars in the Democratic Party at this point. And Bernie Sanders, who is a falling star at this point. There are two things that the Democrats want to do in this election cycle. First off, they don't want Bernie Sanders to be the president. The DNC does not want Bernie Sanders to be the president because he is going to taint the Democrats' chance of winning forever. Now, popularity-wise, he actually might beat Trump. He might be in the position to be the one that beats Trump. I'm not going to deny him that. He's got enough of a sycophantic following out there that he might be the one to do it. He might actually be able to pull it off. But once he goes in and he puts his mandate in and he puts his executive actions in and the Union Democrats start to realize what he's going to be and what he stands for and everything else that he's going to do, he's going to taint the Democratic Party for generations to come at this point. He's going to crash the economy out. He's going to blow out spending. And like it or not, the millennials are going to pick up that bill. We are going to have to pay off the national debt at some point. So if it suddenly goes from $23 trillion to $74 trillion or whatever ridiculous number Bernie Sanders would blow it out to, yeah, that's going to reflect badly on them. So for whatever reason, even though they do want to take Bernie Sanders' leftist position, they do not want Bernie Sanders and his religious following to have the mandate to run the country. They do want people that can be kept in check by their constituents and by the people of the country, people who can still be checked and taken out at some point. Bernie Sanders, if he got to the office of the presidency, could not be taken out. He could not be removed from the office. There's no way he could because he's got so much of a religious following. I mean, his following is kind of small, but it's religious. They are hardcore, and they are going to take the Democrat Party with them, and they will never be able to win an election again. Bernie Sanders is trying to pull Biden to the left and possibly succeeding in that. But for the most part, if you get Bernie Sanders in, he's going to fuck the country and they're never going to be able to win it again. So that's something you've got to keep in mind. But also, on the other side of that, they don't want to taint any of these other rising stars. They don't want any of these other rising stars to lose to Trump is what they don't want. They don't want your Kamala Harris's to lose to Trump. They don't want anybody else to lose to Trump. To get them knocked out of the running, to get them, especially in this social media area where the internet remembers everything, they don't want any of these people to be, they want them to sit in their seats for as long as they can. The 2020 election is not the most important election to the Democrats as much as they want to make it out to be. It absolutely is not. 2024 possibly is, but the 2020 election is not. So now they've got a guy, demented, Alzheimer's, 77 years old, possibly not going to live long enough or be cogent long enough to run again in 2024. Joe Biden's political career is over after this election. Even if he wins, he's not going to make it through 2024. There is no possible way. It's not humanly possible in the condition his brain is in for him to make it this far. So why are they putting him up? They're putting him up so that once he goes down, he can't run again, and he doesn't taint the image of any of these other people. So that all of these people can go up and run again, and they've all been running now for 8 years. Everybody knows who they're. I guarantee at least 3/4 of the field that we saw this past time through are going to run in 2024. I guarantee it. They're going to be perennial candidates. Right now, I'm most scared that we're going to get a Bush in 2024. We're going to get Bush number 3. Maybe not Jeb, but another person who is Jesus, and a warmonger and wants to rip the Middle East apart even further. I am dead terrified of that. Because for all that he is, President Trump is a very Reagan-esque figure. In a time when we're going in the direction that was very Reagan-esque. Up until the pandemic hit, we were charging forward record stock markets, record economy, record anything else we could think of to be a record. We were charging along with it. It was a very Reagan-esque feeling in the country up until the pandemic hit. And of course, everything dropped to pretty much exactly where it was when Trump took office. But now we're creeping back up. We're almost halfway to where we were before the pandemic hit and the economy dropped out. So yes, it's not surprising at all that the Democrats know that Trump is most likely going to win the next time. So they want to put somebody up who they can end his political career with at this point. Second off, the reason that they want him to run, of course, is for the off chance that he does win. Say Trump strokes out on the campaign trail and Mike Pence can't pull it together at the last minute. Or say he actually does something really. Say he shoots somebody off Fifth Avenue for whatever ungodly reason. First off, his base would probably commend him for it. They'd probably say he had the right or he was defending himself or something like that. But if he shot someone on Fifth Avenue, I don't think he could get reelected as much as he wants to say that he could. I don't think he could. But so say something like that happens, and on the off chance that a 77-year-old man with Alzheimer's can get through and not gaff himself out of the running and actually get to the presidency. Like I said, he is not going to make it to 2024. It's not going to happen. He's talking about it. He's saying it. He's going to get into the history books, and then he's going to step down. When he steps down, democracy is over, which is amazing because of the fact that the party's name is the Democratic Party, and they think that democracy is the only way to run the country. Simple majority rule wins everything. Democracy, Democrats, simple majority, needs of the many over the needs of the few. All of this other talking points are right out the fucking window. Whoever he picks as your VP candidate is going to be the presidential candidate. That's something that the Democrat Party needs to accept. So either he's going to make it through, and on the off chance he gets elected, he's going to step down and let the person that the DNC has picked as his candidate become the president of the United States. Or, as many other people are thinking, we're going to get to the convention, they're going to pull him out because he didn't get to the magic number. They're going to pull him out and they're going to put whoever they want to appoint in there instead. Once again, sidestepping democracy for appointment and control and power. But either way, he's up there to be a sacrificial lamb on either one of those scenarios, either to be a placeholder until they find who they want to appoint, or can get to a point where they can sidestep democracy, or to just lose in a spectacular fashion to Trump. And there are a couple things that they can do with that, actually. First off, like I said, they can put up somebody for 2024 and get somebody up out of the way. That's one of the options that they can do with that. Or the other thing that they could do with Biden is, where was I going with that? I just completely lost my train of thought with that. I'm sorry. Anyway, there was one other reason that I had picked up for Biden being the presidential nominee. And this is actually, I think, the most important, and I do think this plays along with number one, where Biden is a sacrificial lamb to lose in a spectacular fashion to Trump. Remember back in January, and I realized that January was 10,000 years ago at this point. Back in January, the main allegation of the fact that we were going in and investigating Burisma and Hunter Biden and the connections that he had out there and possibly any other, because there are other connections with Burisma and Biden. If you don't think there are, I'm sorry, but you're a little bit slow at this point. There are other connections out there. But one of the things that kept coming up was, Trump is investigating a political rival. He's investigating a rival. Joe Biden is his political rival. Well, Joe Biden, especially when we were coming up in January, was slipping in the polls. Bernie Sanders was ahead of him in most of your nationwide polling at the time. Elizabeth Warren was ahead of him at one point. Biden was slipping, and of course we were moving into January. We were taking some of these first states were getting ready to vote, and some of the first states were going heavily for Sanders, Warren, Klobuchar. Mayor Pete came out of nowhere, but that was after the impeachment and everything went through. Biden was not the political rival at the time. And then Super Tuesday came up. And of course, Biden has a southern vote, and I don't necessarily think that that is completely manufactured. Because remember, several people were dropping out and getting behind Biden at this point, once Super Tuesday came in. And for what people believe and what people don't believe, I do believe that Warren stayed in to pull some of the vote away from Sanders. Because remember, she had just had that debate discussion against Sanders and called him a sexist, and he called her a liar on national TV. There were still Yas Queen Slay supporters of Elizabeth Warren going into Super Tuesday. She didn't do that to try and do anything else other than to try and pull votes away from from Bernie to get Biden up to the top. Now that Biden is up to the top, and now he's actually the presumptive nominee coming up to this, he is indeed a political rival. He is the number one rival, and he is the person who is most likely that's going to be standing up on that debate stage next to Trump. And I cannot wait for that, because he is going to get demolished in a spectacular fashion if he gets up on the debate stage with Trump. He is just going to get beaten to crap if he gets up on that debate stage. Just a spectacular. Just look at what Mika Brzezinski did to him this past weekend. Oh, well, why don't we just go through the records over at the University of Delaware and just specifically search for the name Tara Reid? Oh, wait, what? No, can you do that? No, but. If Mika Brzezinski, who is in the pocket of the Democratic Party, can do that to Joe Biden, imagine what's going to happen to him against Trump. But if Biden is the nominee, that justifies the impeachment that is very unpopular with a lot of America right now. It justifies the impeachment because Biden becomes, once again, a political rival. They said that forever and ever. Donald Trump is investigating a political rival. He's only going into Burisma because Joe Biden is a political rival. He's using the office to dig up dirt on Joe Biden, a political rival. It's corruption. He knows he's afraid to face Joe Biden come up in the election. Whereas if he was dropping off in very last place, which he was going in the right direction to do, if he was going in that direction and going to drop off the face of the earth because he was going to gaff himself out of existence, then he's just another guy who failed in the campaign, and Bernie Sanders or Mayor Pete or whoever the hell else they were going to appoint and put up was going to be the political rival. And that whole thing that they did in January was going to be completely unjustified. And the other side of that, of course, is the fact that if Joe Biden is the nominee, if he is the presumptive nominee, or the nominee in general, or anything else, Bill Barr is going out and starting to set up investigations into Burisma no matter what. He is investigating this. He's trying to get to the bottom of this. And with Joe Biden being the presumptive nominee, that's going to taint any investigation that Bill Barr tries to launch, because it will be partisan, because Hunter is involved. Because Hunter is the son of Joe Biden, Trump is digging up dirt on a political rival and using the office to do so, and it's, oh my God, so corrupt. And it's tainted by partisanship. It's no longer an independent investigation. It is a partisan witch hunt. If Bill Barr launches it, well, Biden is the presumptive nominee. I don't think they're expecting Biden to win the presidency. I really don't. I do think they're going to throw him up there and let him get demolished. I think their goal right now is to focus. They're going to try and make this out to be the most important election of the world. But they're also going to try and make it so that no Democrat or no Republican can ever get elected again. They're going to try and use Trump and everything that he's done over the past 3 years, or 8 years if they get to it, to try and use to make commercials. They're going to They're going to try and tie every Republican until the end of time to Trump, just like they're doing right now with Bush. It's actually one of the things they tried to do in 2016. That was they were trying to tie every single Republican to Bush and Nejadi. I don't know how to pronounce that, but hi, how are you? Yeah, they're going to try and tie it all to Trump for the rest of time. And there are a lot of things to go wrong with trying to tie every Republican to Trump. I'm sorry. There are a lot of things to go along with that. There are a lot of problems with that. So, yes, absolutely, they're going to try and do that. They're going to try and get 4 more years of Trump in there, with him running his mouth, with him doing stuff that they can try and turn into one song. I don't do music on this show, I'm sorry. I've got my buddy Stephen Ignoramus just put an EP out. If you're looking for music, head on over to his channel. I'm not doing music on this one. I will take listener questions though. Oh, Nephilim Ninja is here. How we doing? And okay, anyway, going back to where I was. So yes, they're going to try and tie every Republican from now until the end of time into Trump, until another Republican comes in and Trump becomes a saint again. And they are going to... No, I'm not going to do links in this. I'm sorry. Anyway. So yes, they're going to try and tie every Republican into Trump, and they're going to try and retain the Senate, or get the Senate back at this point. The focus coming out of this, I think, is going to be to try and get the Senate in 2020 and hold it in 2022, because that way they can finally decide and announce that Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been dead since 2013, or however how long she's been dead. They can finally announce the fact that she's been dead for all these years. And they can they don't have to worry about Trump replacing her with somebody who is a Republican justice, or whatever they're going to try and tie it with. The biggest fear right now is the fact that they are going to further lose the mandate that they've had on the Supreme Court to legislate from the bench forever, which they've already lost that. But, I mean, if they replace Ginsburg, lurking and yard working, is it warm where you are, Nephilim Ninja? I know, I should be yard working too. I took a nap, but I might head down to the Menards and go get some topsoil. And I'm going to grow some food crops this year. I've been doing carnivorous plants for quite a while, but I'm actually going to take some time and grow some food crops. I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to that. I don't have, because I'm renting right now, I can't exactly till up the yard and make a garden out of it. But because my carnivorous plants have to have distilled water over the winter. I use rainwater during the summer, obviously, because they can handle that. It's the minerals that go through the pipes that kill them. But I've got all these jugs from distilled water that I used over the winter that I can take. I'm going to use them as planters. I'm going to get some peppers, maybe some tomatoes. I don't really eat tomatoes, but I might go ahead and get some anyway, because I can sell those. I can get some money off of those. Get some tomatoes, get some peppers, some jalapenos, maybe some herbs and spices. I'm going to grow some garlic. I'm pretty excited for that. And some onions. I love onions. So we'll grow some onions, definitely. We'll go ahead and do that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't do any other yard work normally, but yeah, that's going to be quite a bit of fun. K-Rec Capraz. I don't know how to pronounce that, but thanks for the lemon head. I don't, because of the restream chat, I can't see if you guys are throwing lemons. So in advance, if you guys throw a lemon at me at all or whatever, that's awesome of you, and thank you very much. And I will catch you because I look back through the earnings afterwards. I'll catch back up with you and thank you personally for it. But the restream chat has not decided to make compatibility, so I can't see your donations off here. They are compatible with Super Chat at this point, but not with DLive chat. So anyway, yeah, they're going to try and hold the Senate coming up out of this. They are absolutely going to try and do that because it's the judges and justices. And of course, we all remember the argument that, well, Trump is just going through and appointing judges and federal judges and more judges and this judge and that judge and blah, 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 judge, to the point where they're holding pro tempore sessions in the Senate so that Trump can't just appoint somebody and put him in place. Just enough people to block the nomination. As long as there are 3 people in the chamber during regular work hours, they can block any of Trump's appointments. So, hey, if you've got 3 Democrats in there and Senate's out of session, technically they're in session long enough. That was the whole adjournment conversation, because he wants to go and finish appointing all his judges and getting all of them in. And, of course, he's looking forward to having that Supreme Court justice seat, too. But, yeah, let Biden fall to Trump and hold the Senate. That way they've got commercials. They've got Trump going off and unhinged on the Democrats because they're blocking every one of his mandates. And they can try and make sure that they hold power for the rest of their 1,000-year Reich or whatever it is their goal is that they're trying to do. So that is the reason that Biden is up in front. He is not going to be the president of the United States. And on the off chance he is, he's going to step down and let the undemocratically elected appointment get up in there. Silent Caster's here. Yeah, I just checked out Silent Caster over on Twitch just before we went live. He had Harvey McLeod on there, and I've been friends with her for a little while, and she's been on this show numerous times, so I went and checked that out. And I'm going to check his back catalog, but I think tentatively he's going to be on this Ed's World on the 18th of May, so look forward to that. That'll be pretty cool. He says, running out real quick, but who do you think of the candidates that have dropped out would have stood the best chance against Trump? That's an interesting thing, and I'm going to go on. I'm going to come out right out and say it, and I'm going to say Gillibrand would have been. Here's the thing about Kirsten Gillibrand. Kirsten Gillibrand knows how to play nice with Republicans. And she knows how to court them, because she was an upstate New York representative. That's what you have to keep in mind. Kirsten Gillibrand is currently a senator for the state of New York, which means that the majority of her vote right now, currently, comes from New York City, because there are like 45 people in upstate New York and 45 million people in New York City. So right now, her platform is to pander to the New York City vote, to try and get as many of them as she can. She tries to pander to the most left-wing agenda that she could, because that's what she needs to get elected. If she goes with the more centrist or the more right-leaning that she did for her representative seat, the city of New York is not going to elect her. It's the same reason that you've got Andrew Cuomo as the governor right now and the agenda that he's trying to push. And he is more of a moderate centrist Democrat than many other people out there. He's more to the center than Gillibrand is. But the thing about Gillibrand is she knows how to play nice and get the more conservative vote of upstate New York, as well as get the more progressive vote. She can stuff both pockets at the same time, and she's very good at it. And she, of course, then she's got the history books and the first woman president angle going in with her too. That's something else you've got to keep in mind with Gillibrand. It's the same thing with Obama. It would have been the same thing with Hillary. I think that is the thing that they tried to do with Hillary as well. They tried to get her in as into the history books. They tried to use the wedge issue to try and get her in there. But she was so corrupted by her time in office that there was no way that she could do that. We don't mind having a woman as the president of the United States. We just didn't want that woman. And I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to say the same thing about Elizabeth Warren. We wouldn't mind having a woman be the president of the United States. We just don't want that woman, because she's just insufferable. My God, I cannot stand that woman. But that's where we stand on that, of course. Gillibrand can play nice with the Republicans. She can play nice with the socialists. She can play nice with the union workers. She can play nice with a lot of different groups. Plus, she does not have all of the corruption from being the Secretary of State standing behind her. She would have been a force to reckon with, I think. I'm pretty sure that if she would have stayed to the end, it would have been a tight race. I don't think that she could have won, given the economy that we had. Now, this pandemic would have thrown a lot of things into the mix, but I really think that would have been a really tight race if everything had gone as normal as we were going into last year. And it was really weird that she was one of the first ones to drop out, too, because I really think that she could have done it. And I think she's going to do it in 2024. I'm not going to lie. I really do. I know a lot of people say Klobuchar. That's the other thing, too. If Biden's going to pick a vice presidential candidate that I think has the best possibility to get him over the finish line, I think it's going to be Gillibrand. I really do. A lot of people say Klobuchar, a lot of people say Harris, and a lot of people say Abrams. And Harris and Abrams, they do with the intersectionality angle in mind. But Harris and Abrams cannot play nice with the Republicans that are swayed at this point. They can't play nice with those people. They can play nice with people like Joe Walsh, who are vote blue no matter who, and Bill Kristol, who are vote blue no matter who, and who the fuck is the other guy? Bill Weld, who are vote blue no matter who. They can play nice with those people because they're so deranged at this point. Their TDS is so bad that they will literally pull socialism into this country just to get rid of Trump. And they can play nice with those Republicans, but they can't play nice with a large swath of the Republican voter base. Gillibrand can, and Klobuchar can to an extent as well, and she's doing very well with that in Minnesota, but I don't think... She's got too much baggage on her as well. She's got way too much baggage out of that. So yes, I think Gillibrand would have absolutely stood the best chance against Trump. All right, I want to talk a bit about these Michigan protesters here. And this comes from a fact, and I keep getting invitations to join the Quora Partner Program, so they'll start paying me for the answers. I don't know if I'm going to obviously make any money off of that, and I don't know if I want to be partnered with a Google product. Remember, I gave the finger to YouTube. You guys don't know that, but yeah, I am in there, and even if I ever make it to 1,000 subs and get monetized, they're not putting advertisements on my stuff. I told them that right now. I told them to take that money and shove it up their ass. Because I can say what I want on my YouTube channel, on my DLive channel, on my Twitch channel, on my Facebook, and on my Periscope. I can say what I want on those. And if they monetize me, then of course I gotta cower in a corner and say, oh my god, they're gonna demonetize me. They're gonna take away. If you guys want to support me, I'm not gonna do it by forcing an advertisement on you people. There are too many commercials out on there, and too many of you have an ad blocker anyway, so you never see the commercials. If you guys want to support me, I will set up a PayPal. And I'll set up a Subscribestar. You don't have to watch commercials on YouTube for me. But the protests. This came from a question on Quora and there are several other people that were saying this, and it was going around Twitter as well. Do you think this would have happened the exact same way if these would have been black or Muslims carrying assault rifles and army gear? And oh my god, it's the paramilitary. They're gonna... Okay, there are a few things that are at play with the Michigan protest. Here's what you have to keep in mind about what happened this past, what was it, Thursday? Yeah, it was Thursday because I covered it on Contemporary on Friday. Here's what you have to understand about what happened this past Thursday in Michigan. If they would have been black or Muslim, and every other factor other than the color of their skin had to be exactly the same, the turnout would have been exactly the same. Now, this is going to be an unpopular opinion among the identity politics group over on the left. But you really have to think about what happened here and what came out of all of this. So, for those of you who don't remember, over on Thursday, while the legislature was in session, working on blocking out the executive orders that Whitmer and her crazy chancellorship have used to take over the state of Michigan and turn it into a sort of a police state. The legislature right now is working on getting that blocked. So while they were in session on Thursday, a large group of protesters came into the Capitol. They didn't storm. They actually, from what I understand, came in pretty calmly. And they were getting temperature checked as they came in, which further adds to the narrative that they came in calmly. They were getting forehead temperature checked. They weren't social distancing while they were in there, but they were getting temperature checked while they came in. Many of them were armed, carrying large rifles. Many of them were carrying their concealed carry pieces, or most likely on the outside, because it's illegal to conceal carry in the Michigan State Capitol. But they were carrying large rifles, they were carrying pistols, they were all coming in armed, and of course many of them were wearing their army gear as well, screaming in the face of the police officer. The police officers, the state police, would not let them into the chamber to conduct the people, and of course they were saying this was the people's house, but for the most part, their weapons, actually for the entire part, because otherwise this would have all turned out very differently. Throughout the entire thing, their weapons remained holstered, loaded, but holstered. On their back straps, they didn't brandish, they didn't carry, they didn't point, they didn't do anything else. These people abided by all of the laws prescribed by the state of Michigan. Do I think the laws are about to change in Michigan? Because I know in Wisconsin you can't carry a firearm into a government building. It's illegal. They're posted everywhere. The courthouse, the state capitol, nowhere. You can't even carry a pocket knife in the state capitol. In Michigan, you can. You can carry into a government building as long as you are peaceful, law-abiding, and you're not using it for ill intent. Already conservatives here. Welcome on in. You have any questions? Get them on into the chat. I just answered Silent Caster's question about who I think would have been the best candidate to beat Trump. So, as long as you are peaceful and law-abiding with your gun, it is perfectly legal to carry it around. Basically, it's a showpiece at that point. The people, of course the white people in Michigan, abided by all laws prescribed by the state of Michigan. I do think that the legislature is going to change the gun laws in the Capitol at this point. I do think Biden is going to win. No, he's not. I don't think he's going to win. I think he's screwed. But thank you for coming in, Mitch. As long as they were peaceful and protest, and this is where the question was going. If they were blacks that came in, remember the Black Panthers incident in the 60s. The Black Panthers came in, they were armed, and they occupied the Capitol, and nobody got hurt. And they were actually brandishing weapons. They didn't keep, for the most part, they kept them holstered, but there were a few people that were out carrying them openly. And nobody got hurt from that. Yes, a lot of people talked, and of course that was the 60s, so a lot of people were going to talk at the time, but I mean, society's changed so much since the 60s at this point too. But this has happened before, and we've seen this before, and as long as the people were law-abiding, yes, the outcome was going to be the same. And the outcome actually could have been the exact same with the white people in the Capitol as well. The problem, and this is the biggest problem with any sort of demonstration or protest, and this was the thing that I was most worried about when the Virginia rally happened as well, because it's the exact same idea. The problem when you've got a large gathering like that of people that are armed and the police that are on edge because they've been told that they need to be on edge, and yes, I think that the idiot that was screaming in the state trooper's face needed to be slapped because he was an asshole, but when you're in a large gathering with that, with a lot of firearms, because people are protesting government overreach, which was what was going on in Virginia, what was going on in Michigan as well, the police are going to be on edge. And at this point, it has nothing to do with skin color of anybody, race, or anything else of anybody else. It just takes the situation they were in with the Capitol, the situation they were in with Richmond, and everything else. It would have taken one police officer with a twitchy trigger finger to turn that whole scene into a massive bloodbath. That has nothing to do with the color of skin of anybody else. It could have been Hispanics with guns, it could have been blacks with guns, it could have been Muslims with guns, it could have been whites with guns. One twitchy state trooper that didn't know what to do, that was undisciplined, that was scared out of his mind, that was wetting his pants, One shot from one of them would have been all it would have taken to turn all of that into a massive bloodbath in any situation, no matter who was protesting. The police officers show incredible discipline, and with the exception of the asshole that they're floating around Twitter that was screaming in the face of the state trooper, and trust me, I've only seen the one picture of the one guy. I'm sure that there were probably some other ones. But other than the one guy, I've only seen the one picture of that. Everybody else showed tremendous discipline out of this. Yes, it was a show of force. Yes, it was a show that the citizens were not going to be afraid, but for the most part, everybody was very disciplined. But it's one of the things you have to keep in mind. And that was the other thing, too. Well, if this would have been the exact same situation, except it would have been a bunch of black people in the Capitol, it would have been different. Their blood would have been shed. No, it wouldn't have. Think about that for a sec. Think about every police officer and even everybody going into the protest. I've got a lot of odd names with a lot of Z's in them coming in on D-Live. Beza Denise, welcome on in. Isla KNK, welcome on in. Sem Tunser, welcome on in. Bala Bane Men 18, welcome on in. Thanks for stopping by, you guys. So that's what you have to think about when you're in a large, enclosed area with a lot of people who are on edge to begin with, and no place for anybody to go. Government buildings are not known for having very, very fast angles of escape. Where am I from? I'm from the U.S. Government buildings are often built long, long before there were codes about making sure that you had plenty of emergency exits. Now, there are a lot of remodels out there that have addressed some of that. Beza Denise, you have a request. Well, I'm not going to play a song, but go ahead, get it in the chat because this is listener questions. What time is it there? 6:22. I'm actually going to be wrapping it up here in just a bit. So anyway, you're in a large enclosed area with a lot of people on edge and not a lot of ways for people to escape. One shot. Do you have a chance to open music? I do not. One shot would be all it would take to turn that entire scene into an absolute bloodbath. And once again, like I said, that would be no matter who was carrying who was protesting. And the scene in Virginia was much the same. It was just taken one idiot cop, to change the flow of everything else as they went along. And that would have changed the entire situation. So, no, I do not think that would have been any different if it had been brown people or Muslim people or Hispanic people or black people or any other kind of person that you could put in there to try and go with your identity politics. Repeat, Merhaba. How much your mic? It was enough. Don't worry about how much my mic was. Yeah, it would have been exactly the same no matter what. No matter how this all went along, it would have been exactly the same. So, no, your identity politics don't mean anything. This is not some massive racist country out there where everybody's looking to gun down every black person in the world. That's going to be the one that's going to get cut for context, and that's what Jared Holt is going to use when he finally takes notice of me and decides he wants to take my channel down. But yeah, that's not what this country is, no matter how much the left wants to paint this country as that. That is not what this country is. All right, take care, guys. The left wants you to believe that this country is completely founded in racism and it's the color of your skin that matters with how you're going to go in life. No, it is the amount of work that you decide that you want to put in. It is what you want to do with your life, how much effort you want to put into it, and what you want to get out of it is what's going to determine how you go in your life. Yes, there are some external factors that go in. I'm not going to deny that, but no, this is not some serial racist country out there where people are just going to walk in, see a black guy with a gun and just start shooting, especially, my God, in an enclosed area. How out of your mind do you have to be to believe that that's actually what's going to happen? That is absolutely amazing that people actually believe that. So the last thing I want to get to, because we don't really have a lot of questions in here, we've got some people coming in here and there and popping in and coming out. But there was one last thing that I did want to get to as we were going along here. So I tweeted out because Tara Reid was running down through everything as we were going along here, as we were going through our regular discourse yesterday, because from what I understand, and of course because of the way my work schedule works with Friday and Saturday, I've not been able to follow up with a lot of this, but I kind of have an idea what's going on here. Howard A. Esquire yesterday tweeted out, Tara Reid, 1, praised Biden for years up to 2018 without mentioning this. 2, wrote an essay, mass tweeted praise for Putin. 3, defrauded a horse rescue. 4, has more aliases than Trump. This is the last time I will give this non-issue attention. Hashtag I believe Joe, I believe Biden. And it's a retweet of something else, which, of course, I retweeted out. Holy crap, follow the left-wing agenda and fall into line or they will drag up every destructive thing from your past they can find. This is Clinton all over again. Never mind the fact that Christine Blasey Ford had more destructive things in her past and had a very much political reason to try and take down Justice Kavanaugh. This is part of the problem that I have with these people digging up these 30-year-old allegations to do all this, because, number one, everything is past the statute of limitations. Number two, in both the Kavanaugh case and the Biden case, there were no witnesses. This is literally not going to go anywhere unless they find some document in Biden's University of Delaware sealed record, which, from what I understand, they have no access to anyway. I don't know if they can subpoena that, and I don't know why they would bother at this point. But the left right now is out there trying to dig up every last piece of dirt that they can find on it. This has got to be a Clinton operation, because this is exactly what they did with Broderick and Paula Jones and everything. It's like they're running, they are running from the same playbook. And the fact that it's been 20 years at this point and none of the millennials remember that, they think they're justified by doing this. But yes, from what I understand from this, somebody went and did some digging and found every piece of dirt that they could find to try and discredit this poor woman. This poor woman. This is the worst part, because she was a grown adult in 1993, which means that she saw everything that Hillary Clinton did to Paula Jones and Juanita Broderick, and every other skank that President Clinton got on top of. She saw all this, and she still came forward. And I don't trust her intentions entirely. There's enough going on around this that I do have some tinfoil about this, and I don't believe that she is entirely pure in her intentions. In fact, there are some parts of me that believe that she's doing this to try and prop Biden up. So he's such a Boy Scout, he's releasing all of his documents, and all Kavanaugh can do is say, here are some cool calendars. Look how great our boy Joe Biden is, and he was so forthcoming with details. I do think that there's a part of this that's a setup, but whether it's a setup or not, nobody deserves to have their life ripped apart like this, like they're doing. And I don't think that she saw a lot of this coming. I mean, this woman, her life is going to be over if she was pure in her intentions. And of course, if she is actually a DNC plant that's trying to make this be a Biden versus Kavanaugh kind of thing, then that's on her, and she brought a lot of this on herself. So if that's what she's doing, she's getting a great big payout from the DNC, I guarantee. But if that's not what she's doing, if she's actually going out there to try and find a reason, and they're just going to rip her apart, her life is over. Now, I'm sure that there's going to be, because this is going to be the woman that blocked Biden from getting into the White House, there's going to be a lot of MAGA support for her if this does wind up having something to come with that. So I'm sure if she throws a Patreon out there, everybody with MAGA and their Twitter handle will go and start throwing money at her. So she'll at least be able to survive. But she is never going to be able to show her face again if she is pure in her intention. One of the problems that I have with this, of course, is the fact that the right is now coming up and trying to push this forward and trying to get everybody to believe all women. And that's pretty much the only thing that the right is actually trying to get, well, the MAGA right, I should say, is actually trying to get Joe Biden prosecuted for this. They're trying to get him put in prison for the rest of his life over this. because this is the rules that the left put forward for us. These are the new rules, and now we have to abide by them. And they're going to try and do it that way, and that's not going to be the way to do things. That's not going to be what happens with all of this. So, but of course, if the right comes back and does this now, once there is another allegation, and trust me, there's going to be another allegation against a Republican or somebody that's appointed by a Republican. Once this goes forward, as soon as this happens, these are the new rules. This is what we have to live by. So, of course, now they're going to look at this, and now they're going to take this seriously. Now this is going to be the new rule. So, get set for this to happen every election cycle as we go along forward. And with that, I think we're going to call it. So, thanks to everybody who came in and chatted. Oh, Conservative Patriot. I'll let you get in the last question if you have one for the end of this. So I'll give you a couple minutes here while I'm selling the wares. But if you got a last question, go ahead and get that on in. But yeah, I think this was just going to start wrapping up. And I will thank everybody who came in, even if I can't pronounce their names. So I'm going to do the best I can for my foreign friends who just showed up from DLive here. Simrahan, Balabani Men 18, Semtun Sir, Beza Denise, Semtun Sir, Ata Aid, Isl K&K, Beza Aideniz. Well, the best thing is this is going to get Conservative Patriot a chance to ask a question because this is going to take a while. I think that's it. Oh, Nezi JDJD is the last one here. So thanks you guys to all for coming in here. And let's thank everybody else who came in here. Mitch, who came in and said Biden's going to win. Thanks for popping in. R-rated conservative, thanks for stopping by for a second. And what's up? It's a Saturday, and we're still under quarantine and lockdown and everything else we're doing. Silent Caster, thanks for the thoughtful question. Like I said, I'm going to check Silent Caster's back catalog, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be on Ed's World on the 18th, so come and check him out. Keira Caprez, thanks for the lemon head. Nephilim Ninja, hope your yard work is going great. Thanks for popping in. Amanda Figs, yes, that is Steven's beat. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for showing up early. Thanks for everything there. And of course, thanks to the Conservative Patriot for coming by. And if there are no more questions, I think we're going to pop that out. So, Ed Talk is available for replay over on YouTube if you're just catching up now, or over on BitChute.com. Check us out there. Or I have started putting this up to the audio platform. So go and check us out on Google Play, Stitcher, and iTunes. You can check us out there. And if you're over on iTunes, leave us that 5-star rating and a good review. That always helps us move up the chart and overcome Apple's algorithms. Thanks everybody who came in and had questions. And as always, thank you for coming to my Ed Talk. Take care, everyone.